Hey, what's going on, Average Joe readers? Today, I just wanted to do a progress update on my year of reading so far and the 31 books that I have read so far this year. So, how's it going, everyone? If you're new around here, I am Joe. I know I haven't done that great of an intro before. I pretty much just started making videos and Leroy Jenkins myself before I have any kind of intro, but I am Joe and I read mostly fantasy, sci fi, mystery, some thrillers. I'll do a nonfiction once a month and with the company I work with, and working in some historical fiction. So I have a wide range of books that I read. I do a lot of Kindle reading, Kindle Unlimited reading, and videos. So all of that stuff. But today I wanted to talk about my a progress update of the 31 books that I have read this year so far. I actually wanted to do it at 30, and then I went and recounted my books and looked on Goodreads, and apparently I'm at 31. So, but that's cool. I just finished two books earlier this week, so that pushed me over into 30. And I'm about a 60 book a year reader, maybe sometimes closer to 70, depending on the length of the books. But it's fine. So, for the first, well, I guess we're only at 4.5 months at the to recording this. 30 books. That's going to put me pretty ahead of schedule of my normal reading, which is cool. But I've got some longer books still ready to go. So far this year, I've read 31 books. By the way, going on Goodreads, this is also why I don't make Goodreads book reading goals because they're always wrong. I keep a list in my notes on my phone, so offline kind of, and on my own. Then I looked at my Goodreads because I've been logging all the books that I've read, and I've looked at every single book that I've read, and both on mine and how it is listed in Goodreads, I have 31. At the top of the page, it says I've read 33. Don't know where they're getting the other two at. And one of the books I read, Rise of Empire for the Raya Revelations, it's technically two books, but how the binding is it's one book to me, but also in Goodreads is listed as one book, and it's my longest book that I've read. It's like 764 pages, so that should only count as one book. Maybe they're still counted as two. I don't know, but to me, I've read 31 books, so that's what I've read. My page count is at 13,678. That's for books read, but I actually have to include my Cristo progress because I am 812 pages into that, and I'm still on month three, kind of reading it. So it's counted toward my page read. So that puts me at 14,490 pages, and this is like halfway through May. So not too bad. My average rating is 4.3, which almost seems kind of high, kind of generous. Maybe I've just been pretty generous, but looking at my books, I had one 2-star book, four 3-star books, but 16 5-star books. And it's possibly because I have a lot of popular series that I wanted to knock out early in the year. I did Red Rising, First Law. I've done, I think, 3 Dresden books, 2 or 3 of the Saxon Saga books. So those are all really popular and really great series. So it's kind of, you know, anticipated, but I'm going to get into some more other ones and trying some new things as I go on through the year. 11 of my 31 books are audiobooks, so I do want to distinguish that because not all of mine are reading. So, and that's about on par. Usually about 1/3 ish of my, or actually less than a third. Usually it's about a fifth of my books are audio, but I guess I've just had more time this year. I think just in between, I'm actually commuting to the gym or doing some sort of other workouts where I'm listening to my books, and it's going a lot faster. Also, some of them that I've read are pretty short. Like some of the Saxon Saga books are pretty short. Some of the nonfictions are pretty short, so they kind of go out pretty quick. So how I wanted to break this up, I just wanted to highlight a lot of the books on different kinds of prompts, different kinds of categories. And if you're interested in something like this, I'll list what each of them are, and then I'll also have a going forward for the, outlook of the rest of the year kind of thing. I'll list them in the description if you want to do it. This isn't a tag, but you can steal this and go ahead and do my list. Fill this out if you want. Feel free. It's fine just to do a check in for how you're doing so far. And I think it's good to have it before halfway because of the going forward section. So the this is just I'm just going into whatever order I wrote these in. And the best read that I had of the year, I don't know if it's single book or series, but I'm going to go with Red Rising. Was probably the best series that I had, and I've only read the first trilogy. I haven't gone on to the next to Iron Gold or Dark Age yet. I'm going to separate that. I probably won't get to it till maybe not even until next year because book 6 doesn't even look in sight. And that's fine. But Red Rising, absolutely amazing. It was fantastic. It was a lot of what I loved in books, sci-fi. There's fantasy feels. There was a lot of action, a lot of twists and turns and things that I did not see coming. So I think Red Rising is probably my best read of the year so far. I don't know, someone like Klaus is going to hardly or is going to strongly disagree with that. Surprise read, my biggest surprise read, and this was almost up there with my best, but I didn't want to mention this too much, and that is the Ash and Sand series. So Kings of Paradise and Kings of Ash. Biggest surprise. I know I've heard good things. You know, Mike from Mike's Book Reviews read it and said good things, but nobody else has been talking about it until like myself and then Steve talks about books. It's got really, really good ratings on Goodreads, but that can also vary. But it is fantastic. I think it's jumping into my top 5 series of all time, possibly. It could be really close, but it is really, really good. And the book 2 really added so much more depth and just robustness to the series. And I can't wait to get to the 3rd book soon. Recommended. I'd probably go with Ash and Sand again because it was fantastic, and I think more people need to read this and go through it because the first trilogy is done, and he's already working. Book 4 is already ready, and I think Petrick is reading book 4, so it's going to be a follow-on trilogy. And I'm not sure where it takes place sequentially because even within the trilogy time, he kind of skips around throughout. So I'm really interested to see where it goes, and I think more people should be reading Ash and Sand. The Thinker. I don't know why I thought of this one for a prompt, but the book that just kind of you thought about for some reason, you thought about longer than it did when you actually read it, and that's The Long Walk. I've randomly thought about that going forward after doing things. You know, it's literally just a book about walking. Like people are just walking continuously for days or a week or however long it is. And it was a pretty quick read, even though it was just about walking. And I've done some endurance things since I've walked it. You know, we did a 7-day hike up Kilimanjaro, and there were just times where as I was going through that Kilimanjaro hike, you know, dealing with elevation, trying to control my breathing, it was just one foot in front of the other. And I was thinking about that book and how they were going through it and just like looking down, looking at your feet, going one foot at a time and just kind of mind numbing. So that one's kind of popped out to my head in my head a few times as well. Low key read, a low key favorite. I kind of like to point out low key ones because you know everybody has their top favorites that usually always get the mentions, but I think some low key favorites that others check out. And one I'm going to say is Escape Reality. This is another one I thought about a few times because the premise and the setup is very good, and the everything with the different types of species mingling and the different types of like cyborg and technology that they put into people is could lead to a lot of books and a lot of depth to how she can write the stories. And that is book 1 going forward. I don't know how long of a series it's going to be or what entails in the future, but it was set up pretty nicely for and room to grow for that series. So my most difficult read. I didn't want to do many negative. I didn't want to do like my worst read or anything like that. But my most difficult read has to be Count of Monte Cristo. Like I said, I'm on like month 3 of reading it. I'm 812 pages in, so I still have about a quarter of the book left. It is very long. I've said this a bunch. He uses 10 words when he should use 3. There was a section where you get backstories on secondary characters that you see once, and like I don't care about this Morse code operator and his neighbor. He thinks his neighbor is stealing his strawberries and half a clementine. Like I don't care about that. I get you want to give them some sort of character, but that doesn't matter at all to me. So it's slow going at times, and like you'll read 30 pages, and within that 30 pages, like one nugget will happen that's actually important and a tie to something, but it took 30 pages to get there. And I kind of wish I found the abridged version, but reading out abridged, sticking with it, and still liking it, but it's just very slow going. Nonfiction recommendation. If you've watched any of my nonfiction videos, then you'll know that I read one nonfiction a month with the website that I work for, and we do book reviews on our podcast there. But my nonfiction recommendation so far for the year would be the first one that I read, and that is Art of Resilience, especially if for the fantasy sci-fi fiction community, because it actually has a narrative. A lot of times nonfiction books come off as a lecture, and they have good stories and sequences in, but this one actually read like a story because the guy is how he swam around Great Britain and his journey through that. It is very funny. A lot of great information there, a lot of good motivation. It hits checks all the boxes, I think, to me for nonfiction. Now for my audiobook recommendation. As I said, I've been listening to a lot of Dresden, and everybody loves the Dresden one, but I'm going to recommend the Saxon Saga, and specifically narrated by Jamie Glover. And I made a mistake of after I listened to the first two by Jamie Glover, I didn't realize there was multiple narrators doing it, and I purchased the wrong narrator on the third one. So I listened to it for about 5 minutes and was like, no, I can't switch narrators. I gotta go back. And I swapped it out with on Audible. And I also made the mistake of realizing how easy that was. And I swapped a whole bunch of other books. And now I'm kind of locked out, or I have to like call them to ask permission to swap a book. And I'm at international, so I don't even know if I can call to do that. So I'm on book 5 now, and I accidentally again purchased under the wrong narrator. It's still going fine. He's fine, but the Jamie Glover one, I think his is done really really well. I like his emphasis and his and my Kindle Unlimited recommendation. I'm gonna go with Livia Alone or in general Barry Eisler as a author recommendation. And Action Sand and Escape Reality, they were all on Kindle Unlimited, but I'll go with Livia Alone or Barry Eisler novels because they are thrillers, and there's definitely some mystery to it, mystery thrillers. But he's kind of created a thriller universe. Like, so a lot of times thrillers are just set in stone or standalone. And but this mystery thriller, there is 3 different series that he has, and they all collide into the book called Killer Collective. So I'm going through Livia Alone right now. There's 2 others that I'm going to get to as well, and I want to see where they lead. I think John Rain might be one of them, and then there's a third one that has like 2 or 3 books. And so I'm going to work on uh, having them meet. I think all of them are on Kindle Unlimited except the John Rain ones, which is the first one that he started with. I think that's the one. I could be wrong, but they all get together and collide. So there's action. There's really good action. There's good backstory, and the narration. He narrates his own books as well. This is also why I'm recommending on Kindle Unlimited because as my previous another video that I said that with Kindle Unlimited, some of them have the audiobooks included. This is one of them, and he narrates his own books. You get the audiobook with it, so you can either read it or do the audiobook for it, and it's with Kindle Unlimited. So Livia Alone / Barry Eisler as for my Kindle Unlimited recommendation. Okay, so going forward now, for going forward, some things that I wanted to do for the rest of the year. This is just stuff that I thought of, other prompts that I thought of that would be good for either goals or how I wanted to change things going forward. So the first thing is what I'm the most excited about. What I'm most excited about is I want to get into Flintlock fantasy. I have not read any. I own the first 2 Powder Mage books, and then some other ones are coming to light that are also recommended. I know Alan, Library Alexandria, has also been getting into it and wants to read more Flintlock. And he just read another one. I forgot what it's called, but that one also looks really awesome. So I need to get into Flintlock. It sounds really awesome ever since I've heard of it. I have the powder made, so I just need to get to it, which I'm probably going to start in over the summer. My next commitment now for this, I was thinking of like series commitment, not just a trilogy, but the next commitment that I want to make, and that is the Black Company. I mentioned before that in June I'll be starting to read it, and some other people from Mike's book reviews Discord are also going to start buddy reading that in June. And I haven't laid down what I'm going to do yet on my channel as far as buddy reads go, but I think at least my schedule, if anybody else wants to follow it, is because there's like 4 omnibuses, and within the omnibus there's like 3 books inside, but each book is only like 250 pages. So each omnibus is like 800 pages, which is a long book, but it's kind of high. It's kind of standard for fantasy. Either way, I think I'm going to do 1 omnibus per month. So in June, I'll start that omnibus, and then August would be when I start the second one, depending on how fast that one reads and how fast other people read. So I think that's the schedule for it. So I do want to finish it throughout the year, and I'll accelerate it as we go, depending on how else other people are reading it. Other things that I want to get to, I want to add in priority wise. I know I want to get to Robin Hobb, and that was originally what I was going to read in June. My wife just finished the Farseer trilogy, and she liked it and kind of wanted to talk about it. But I know those books are really large, and just some of the other things she told me about it, how Fitz is apparently really frustrating and really dumb, which is fine. It happens. But now with my Black Company read, I think I'm going to push that a little bit, or maybe I'll push that to just July because I'll finish the first book in Black Company probably in June. So July I might start it, but also I think I'm going to tag team Black Company with Powder Mage, and then we'll see what Assassin's Apprentice fits in. And I also want to get to more murder mysteries. Those have been great palate cleansers, and I've been kind of negating them. We finally got some Agatha Christie. My wife and I both read one of the Agatha Christie books. She read a Perot, and I just read and then there were none. And we already own 5. Like when I purchased those, I purchased 5. After she read her one, she purchased another 4. So we're getting loaded up on Perot mysteries. And I also have the Sebastian St. Croix mysteries that we love on Kindle. Kind of like a report card, I gave myself a needs improvement. And what I really need to improve on is continuing my Star Wars EU reads. And it started off good because I'm going through the from the beginning the legends now from the Old Republic. I read in January. I read one, and February I read one. So I wanted to keep up with reading one per month. And then I started all my Kindle Unlimited reads, and I own the next 2 at least. And the buddy that I'm reading along with, he started the 3rd one, but he hasn't finished it yet. So I need to get better at continuing my Star Wars reads. They're really short. Most of them are only like 300 pages or less. So those wouldn't be easy. Those wouldn't be hard to fit in as well. But that is definitely what I need to improve on. A big read that I am planning on this year that is going to be later on in the year, because I think I'm going to need some breathing room after I finally finish The Count of Monte Cristo. The next big read that I need to get to is The Stand by Stephen King, 100%. I have only read one King the book this year, and that was The Long Walk. I am supposed to be getting to The Stand, Insomnia, and The Mist, which The Mist is super short. So, but the other 2 are a little bit longer, and I need to get to those 2 or those 3 before I read the 4th Dark Tower book. So Dark Tower is going to be on hold for a while until I finish all those, because I'm kind of trying to do it in the multiverse order. So for my ambitious goal, and this is just going to be something kind of, I guess, lofty. It's ambitious. I don't know if it's going to happen. Besides, obviously, Black Company and the Stephen King ones that I want to get to, there are a lot of trilogies that I own that I really need to finish. That I need to actually start and finish, like Powder Mage, like Robin Hobb. That's 2. Then, or I'll just lump Quartet in there for Senlin Ascends as well. But by the end of the year from now, I want to start and finish 5 of those trilogies / quartets. So that would be Powder Mage, Farseer, Senlin. I'm just going to count that as there. And then the other ones would be other ones that I might own. So whether it's, Broken Earth, the Child of a Mad God, Poppy War, Illuminate, one of those, another trilogy. So I want to say 5 trilogies, including Senlin, is my ambitious goal to start and finish by the end of the year. So that's 16 books right there, or 15, 16 books right there on top of the other ones that I'm doing. So very ambitious. Typically when I start a series or start a trilogy, I read it within 2 months of each other, because I don't start series until they're finished, and then I kind of rapid fire read them. I try not to binge in a row, so I'll read one, then a standalone, read one, standalone. That's why I do murder mysteries, because they are perfect in between. Or if I do 2 trilogies at once, I'll just 1 2 2 3 3, and then there we go. So that is my ambitious goal for the rest of the year. So I am interested, especially if any of you content creators out there want to do this. I will put all of the things that I listed in the description if you want to take it and do it on your own. Again, this isn't a tag. This is just, hey, if you want to look at your books this year and then books going forward, what are your maybe changes, goals, excited about, whatnot. So if you don't, and you don't even have to make a video. If you want to say yours in the comments, what was your best read of the year? What are you most excited about, or a commitment that you have coming? What's your ambitious goal? If you have a audiobook recommendation, any of those prompts, put them down in the comments and we'll chat about it there, and I will see what everybody has to say.